What's good, YouTube? tplocks here, bringing you guys another video. Yes, today this video comes via Tasha Pierre video request. She made the request via my communities tab. As I said in the last video, I'm going to be posting those requests. She made several great ideas, so this is one of many. Thank you, Tasha, for your support. Thank you for submitting this idea, and thank you for following the community tab. Today's topic is traction alopecia and thinning dreadlocks. All right, let's get it. All right. So first things first, let's get some definitions out of the way, all right? Traction alopecia is characterized by hair loss that's caused by your hair being pulled too tightly in the same way over a long period of time. This is more common with women who are getting consistent braid styles. It could be men who are getting consistent braid style, people who wear elastic bands too much, people who wear repetitive headgear like hats, fellas, snapbacks. Essentially, when you're causing a repetitive stress on the hair over a long period of time. When it comes to understanding traction alopecia, and particularly thinning dreadlocks, it's really important to understand that everything that you're doing to your hair is causing a certain amount of stress. I've talked about this in past videos before, understanding the sensitivity of your scalp, understanding that these braid styles that our hair are maintaining are not natural. They're not what our hair would naturally do in some instances, right? When you take your hair and you put it in a specific part with a comb or a crochet needle or whatever tool that you're using, and you're pulling that hair and twisting that hair, manipulating that hair, you are causing a level of stress. It's really, really important to understand that. If you're in a situation where you're getting your hair braided or even twisted and you feel that your hair is like, or your scalp hurts, you've got a migraine right after, it's sensitive to touch. A lot of us here, our stylists say stuff like,
you know, I gotta braid it tight so it stays longer.
You really need to understand that those things aren't going to be conducive to healthy scalp and even really healthy hair in the long run. Thinning locks over time become locks that are going to fall off. Congo that you may have to make. It's basically a situation where you could create instability in your hair just by doing the wrong things. I think it's important to adapt the mindset that less is more when it comes to your hair. If we can adopt that mindset, I think we get to a space where we understand we don't need the retwist twice a month. We don't need the braid style every time we go into the salon. Don't need to always have our hair up in a ponytail, because we understand that these are elements that we're adding or including in our routine that may not always be conducive to the betterment of our hair. So when it comes to preventing thinning dreadlocks, first thing you want to make sure you do is limiting your retwist and your styles. I say this and I make this suggestion all the time. I believe that when it comes to retwisting your hair, I believe that you should only do it at max once a month, because at the end of the day, the point of the retwist is to just try to reinforce that part and to make sure that the new growth is infused into what you got going in that lock, and to set it on its way. It doesn't require you to twist it as tightly as you possibly can. It doesn't require you to twist it every other day. Your hair is just naturally gonna lock. All you're trying to make sure that you're doing is reinforcing and keeping that part integrity. That's what the retwist is for, maintaining part integrity. One of the biggest keys, I believe, to having locks is understanding how to embrace that quote unquote roughness and that non-retwisted look, because it essentially is the healthy status for your hair. It's the time where your hair gets to recover. That's how I think about it. Time in between retwist is when I really need to spoil my scalp. I really need to spoil my hair. I need to make sure I'm doing everything that I possibly can to basically almost apologize in essence to my scalp for introducing that level of trauma. That's why I'm making sure I'm doing the conditioning. That's why I'm making sure I'm doing the brushing. I'm making sure that I'm keeping tea tree oil and the right things to manage the pH balance of my scalp consistently, right? I'm making sure that I'm adding as much restorative components to my hair and scalp in order to make sure that I'm not causing any of that traction alopecia. So in essence, I think one of the first things that we can do to limit thinning locks and traction alopecia is just changing our mindset. We don't always need to have that fresh manicured look. Embrace the periods in between retwists and make sure that you capitalize on making sure that you restore as much as possible in between those retwists. Secondly, you also want to make sure that you're not using too many bands or holding your hair, you know, in those little ponytails and pineapples that we like too much. It may seem like a minor nuisance, but over time, that minor amount of tugging for your scalp does cause the thinning and that traction alopecia that we talked about. It's also important to understand that the same rules apply when it comes to hats. When you're wearing hats consistently and it's causing that tension in that same area, you gotta understand a little bit of tension is gonna be potentially causing that traction alopecia. Also with headbands, you're consistently pulling your hair back. If you must pull your hair back and keep it out of your face, try to use something that's satin or silk or cloth based so it's not tugging consistently or tugging as much. When it comes to hats, headgear of any kind that's tight on your head or any headbands, you want to make sure that you take a minimalist approach. No, that doesn't mean that you can never wear hats or ever wear, you know, bands or put your hair in that pineapple style that we like, but it's just understanding that it is causing trauma. So if you understand that it's causing trauma at a minor scale, you're gonna give your hair a break every now and then, okay? And that's really all it's about, making sure you're evening that balance so that you're not causing that stress to your scalp that causes that long-term damage. All right. Beautiful thing about traction alopecia is that traction alopecia, when caught early, is 100% reversible. Typically, we'll just take that restorative break that you need, basically not wearing the hat, not having the tight styles, you know, not doing the thing that's creating the element of trauma in your hair, and just allowing it to fully restore. You can use things like biotin to help strengthen the hair, things like tea tree oil, peppermint oil to sort of stimulate the scalp. There's a lot of things that you can do to help that hair grow if you catch it in the early stages. There are situations where we've seen traction alopecia that, you know, advances to a level that, you know, has created bald spots and a bunch of other things that actually cannot be reversed. We've seen people try to reverse it with things like, you know, Rogaine or minoxidil, but per the research that I've done, I haven't seen a successful attempt to actually bring back all the hair from a really, really bad traction alopecia patient. So again, if you guys have any information around bringing it fully back, please leave a comment in the comment section. But again, you wanna make sure that you are paying attention to what's going on with your hairline, the nape of your neck, even in your hair. Are things thinning? Do you feel things thinning out? And if they are, always understand that that might be an indication that you might need to slow your roll, okay? Slow your roll. Take a minimalist approach and just allow your hair and your scalp time to breathe, all right? In closing, you guys, because this video is probably all rambled, I just want to let you guys know that traction alopecia is something that you can prevent just as well as thinning locks when they're not of the genetic variety, okay? At the end of the day, it's all about just making sure that you balance that minimalist approach as well as that need to sort of have that manicured, primed and prepped look. All right, you want to limit your retwists. You want to limit the tightness of your styles. You want to give your hair and your scalp all the time that it needs to fully restore in between those retwists. Make sure that you're doing the scalp massages. Make sure that you're doing the things to restore and add nutrients to your scalp and your hair. You also want to make sure that when it comes to pulling your hair back, you limit that when at all possible. Obviously, some of us go to work and we want to have our hair look styled in a particular way. You have to have your hair out of your face. Use like satin or silk bands that are going to push the hair out of your hair so they're less damaging to your hair and scalp. Use things that aren't elastic so they're not constantly creating that tension that creates that traction alopecia. Just making sure that you're giving your hair a break. If you find yourself in a situation where you feel like your hair is thinning, stop immediately with all the things that are causing it trauma. Stop with the consistent retwisting, stop with the styling, give your hair a break. Give your hair a break of like a month. 2 months. Allow your hair that time to restore. And then when you feel like you've gotten back to a space where your hair is back at square one, then proceed. But understand traction alopecia and thinning locks, especially when they're not genetic, are things that can be prevented. It's all about just allowing your hair and your scalp time to breathe. Hope this video helped you guys. Tasha Pierre, thank you for the suggestion. If I did not answer a question or if I was unclear, please leave a comment in the comment section, you guys. These videos, I try to make sure that I am as information packed as possible. But again, a lot of this information is top of the head and, you know, it's not scripted. I don't script. I just try to come straight from the real, you know, and so hopefully this helped you guys. If not, again, just let me know. All right. Make sure you keep your edges. Save your edges today, you guys. Save your edges. I ain't gonna lie. Just before I close, when I get done with my retwist, I try not to. I literally avoid retwisting as long as possible. That's my secret. I do. Once I get a retwist, once I do what I got to do with my parts, I try to leave it alone. I crave that. I don't want to have to get retwist. In fact, I'll be like said betray you probably. You know, when I get to them longer lengths, like I'm not gonna need to retwist. Just let my hair do what it do. It hangs already, right? But yeah, I don't know. All right, you guys. tplocks signing out. I'm here, Mama. I'm here. Right here. Yup. Yup.
Hi, guys.
Yep.
What a good nap. Boy, you all look tired. us up with your snoring.
Word party.
Yes, you do. Oh, I guess I do. Sorry.
Yeah, kiss.